Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the Courage to Change Your Recovery podcast. My name is Loeb Blassingame, and if this is your first time meeting me, I'm clean and sober 16 years. I'm a drug and alcohol counselor, interventionist, and the co-founder of a telehealth company called Lionrock Recovery that treats substance use disorder online. All right, let's get into it. We are going to be talking about relapse today. The question is, why can't I stop relapsing? There are three possibilities that I want to talk about today. There are a lot more possible things on the table, and it's really important to work with a treatment professional or an addiction specialist who can help you with these. But the first is PAWS, post-acute withdrawal syndrome. Post-acute withdrawal syndrome consists of the symptoms that happen after acute withdrawal, which is typically in the first 2 weeks of coming off of the substances that you've been taking. There is a long list of symptoms, anything from anxiety, depression, obsessive compulsive thoughts. People even get incorrect mental health diagnoses as a result of post-acute withdrawal. It's really important to know about because you may feel like you're not doing something right because you don't feel well or weird things are happening, or maybe you feel like, man, I feel like I've gotten worse since I stopped drinking. A lot of the time that's post-acute withdrawal, which is temporary. It's important to know that's temporary, but it can last a while. So please check out PAWS, post-acute withdrawal syndrome, and see if any of those symptoms match up. There are a lot of supplements that you can take, vitamin B, omega-3 fatty acids, that will help you support your brain through this process and help it move along much faster, which is, of course, the goal. The second thing I want to talk about is trauma. Our issues live in our tissues. There is a fantastic book called The Body Keeps the Score, which goes through an exhaustive explanation of why and how trauma affects us in our day-to-day lives, even when we've gotten sober, even when we've done hard work on ourselves. It's really, really important to process and deal with trauma, because think of it this way. When you get sober, it's as if we've been in a station wagon and it's full of our stuff. We got cans, we got suitcases, we have all sorts of stuff filled to the brim in this station wagon. And then when we get sober, we hit the brakes super hard. We hit the brakes and all of that stuff comes flying and hits us in the back of the head. Now, one might think, oh, I shouldn't get sober. I get hurt when I get sober. My head hurts. Really, what's happening is there's all this stuff that we have to deal with, and we've been using drugs and alcohol to suppress that. And so there's nothing wrong, even though you may feel worse now that you've gotten sober. You just have stuff you need to deal with. And so reaching out to a trauma-informed therapist, there's all sorts of things that we now know about trauma and how it presents itself that will help you not feel triggered and want to return back to that chaotic feeling that we call home, right? What's familiar with the devil we know. There's so many sayings where we run back to what we know. And sometimes what we know is trauma, is traumatic. That does not help us stay sober. So see if there's unresolved trauma. And the third thing is drugs and alcohol were our coping skills. They were the answer to our problem. I love the saying, there's solution, literally a solution to our problem. And now we don't have that solution. So we need new solutions. We need new coping skills. You must replace drugs and alcohol with other healthy coping skills. No, they're not going to work as fast. And that is part of the struggle. Sobriety is for people who do it, not people who want it. Just wanting it is not enough. We have to do it. Those coping skills include having great nutrition that will help balance your brain so you feel better, so it's easier to make good decisions. Exercise. It is so important to move your body in whatever way feels right and good for you. Having community. It's a must-have. If you're an introvert or you don't like people or you don't like men or you don't like women, so what? Doesn't matter. This is something that you need in order to be able to stay sober. Lastly, having some sort of spiritual practice, meditation, even going out to the water, to the ocean, wherever you feel a sense of awe, wherever you can feel a sense of the universe, whatever it is, something, maybe it's just being with your children, something that connects you to the rest of the world. All of these things, they sound like inadequate coping skills for what we had, that quick rush, but they will truly be your lifelines. And in order for them to feel like your lifelines, you have to practice doing them. You have to put them into your routine. You have to fill your calendar. You have to put these things in your calendar. They won't just happen on their own. It's so, so important. And these are the ways that we help prevent relapse, which we know is incredibly, incredibly preventable and painful. So if you're trying to avoid that, check out these 3 things. And if you want more information on them, go to my longer podcast on this topic, the Courage to Change a Recovery podcast. I hope this helped.